This is from a town in Michigan where they were having a city council, and this lady's going to ask them about whether or not they have signed an NDA with the data center that is looking to move into their town. Basically asking if they've taken money or privileges or, what have you from a data center.
Have you personally signed any NDA, any agreement, or had any private communication, such as meetings, phone calls, text messages, or emails, with any developer, company, landowner, or representative regarding any current or potential project that could affect Tyrone Township? Chris Robetta.
No.
Dean?
No.
Jennifer?
I'm not answering your question. This is not the time or place.
I can ask you whatever I want. Don't tell me what I can
But
say.
we don't have to answer you.
But you're communicating with me, Jennifer. I didn't think you were supposed to do that. Greg Carnes, how about you? Yes or no?
Not the place. We've already discussed this, so.
Who's already discussed it? I'm sorry? Who's already discussed
This
it?
has been discussed.
Who has? Who's discussed it? I've not discussed this with you. What are you saying? Pam Moffler? Yes or no?
Just a dead stare.
You work for us.
That's right.
Herman Ferguson? Won't answer? Zach Tucker?
Mike, stop. You say
Excuse
guilty
me.
one more time, you're out. I'm not tolerating.
Have you personally signed?
So, I mean, I think what, the takeaway from this is there's a lot of smaller towns where if you have this force coming in, this is the same type of thing where Walmart was trying to get different zoning laws in small towns and stuff, and they couldn't get what they wanted, and they could just pay off the city council, because we're talking about people who are making, not that much money, and they're bringing in these large corporate funds to buy out city councils, which, costs a lot less than buying out a U.S. senator and that kind of thing. And that was 5 of the 7 city council members wouldn't answer whether or not they've signed an NDA, talked separately, ex parte communication, basically, with ex parte being like usually used in courts outside a courtroom. It's when you talk to the judge without another party present. But basically, if they've made a backroom deal with a data center, they won't answer the question whether or not. And this isn't distinct to this specific town or township. This is something that's happening in most of these data centers. That's why they go to these small places where they can just bulldoze over the politics there, pay off, give whatever benefits they need to some small city council people, and then do something like that. It just makes you, it's a good reminder that local elections matter, and you can have a huge impact in your local elections, a lot more than you can have in the national one. For example, our local port, which deals with a lot of shipping and commerce. It deals with a lot of environmental assessments of things happening on the water. And that election, one of the seats came down to 32 votes. 32 votes could be the difference between one person phone banking for a month and one person not. Or somebody being a full-time volunteer on a campaign that would otherwise have to try and pay somebody and take money from a corporation to be able to get that resource to win the campaign. So, I think it's just a huge wake-up call to be able to get out there, affect some of your local smaller elections, especially because they can have some of these big impacts where they can push a data center somewhere else or say no completely and get them out of your area. But, this person is great for standing up for that. The other thing is politics doesn't start and end with elections. A lot of people don't realize you can get out there to city council meetings every week and move politicians, make them uncomfortable, or tell them you support them when they're doing something good. Tell them you're pushing back. And what happens is, because nobody comes out to these things, as far as they know, you're representing a much larger populace behind you than they can realize, because you're only the people that are willing to go out and sit down and do that. So something like that, the stuff happens a lot of times during the day when people who are working might not be able to go. So being able to know their contact information, get a heads up on what stuff is going on in city council, and then you can text, email, call, whatever, to leave voicemails, leave messages for either city council, your local, state, even state and state legislatures, which don't go, they're not the ones that go into DC, they're the ones going to whatever your individual state capital is and making laws on there, are small enough in the grand scheme of the national politics that they don't receive a lot of messages. So if you're the one sending the voicemail over to them or a letter or what have you, then you represent as far as they're concerned, a larger block, and you can have a lot more sway. So I'd say it's something, get out there. This is something that people on the right have done a lot. You look at book bannings, national book bannings of like stuff they're taking out of schools for children and things they're disallowing, mostly done by the right wing. And if you break it down, there's I think it was like 80% of the book bannings or 90% of the book bannings, it was 13 people in the entire United States that were just retirees who were relentless, and they would go to school districts and they would just keep writing them and emailing them and bugging them and saying like we're the majority and that kind of stuff, and they convinced these people that they were. And so it's a way that you can have excise power, whether it's an election cycle or not. It doesn't matter. Politics is happening all the time, and the elected officials that we put in are still making decisions, and letting them know that they might be making decisions based off of bad information is the right of every voter, but also the kind of duty of the citizenry to bring it up that you're doing something outside of our best interest, and we see this, and we're gonna make this a big issue, especially when it comes time to get reelected. But even now, if you, especially in a small town, if you make these people uncomfortable, if you put this out there, if they're living in a township with like 1,000 people, do you know how fast you could spread the news that somebody on the city council is corrupt and being an asshole, and then their life is going to be, miserable as it should be. They won't get invited to the same dinner parties, things like that. People in town will be like, wow, you sold us up the river for a data center. So in some of these small towns, even in bigger cities, if you look on a smaller level, you can make a huge impact in the politics there.